podcast. My name is Myra and I will be your host today. It is Friday, May 5th, and it is 7 o'clock at night, so that's why there's this huge shadow behind me. I have quite a bit of lighting going on. I actually was planning on podcasting from across the room, but one of my lamps did not have a long enough cord to reach the outlet from over there, so I'm over here. So I want to wish my returning viewers a very warm welcome. Thank you for coming back and spending some time with me. And for any new viewers, hello and welcome to the Knitting Bookworm podcast. My name is Myra and I will be your host. I am filming in southwestern Connecticut, where I live with my husband Scott and our lovely cat Varian. And yeah, so that's me. Today I am drinking tea because it's so late out of my Marauders map cup. So I love this teacup. I got it for my birthday, and the saucer is so cute. It's got little feet on it. My aunt got me this for my birthday, and I love it. It came in a set, and there's also a platform 9 3/4 mug as well. Alright, that's much better. I was, well, now it's not centered. There we go. That's much better. I had my camera stand up a little too high, and so I was just kind of this floating head in space, and I wanted to fix that. So, thank you for coming today. I have not a super lot of knitting to share with you, but I definitely have some. Yesterday, I actually uploaded episode number 3 of the Knitting Bookworm podcast, which was long overdue. I filmed it a week or two ago, and I finally got the chance to edit and upload it. School has been crazy busy, but I can talk about that more in the ramble segment. So, I also yesterday uploaded a couple blog posts, one just listing my current WIPs, which if you stick around you'll get to see those too. And then I uploaded another that is a tutorial for the sewn bind off, and I used it for the top of a toe up sock. It's very stretchy, but it's not Jenny's super stretchy bind off, which I have very strong feelings about. So yeah, if you're interested in either of those things, you can find them at myrabethheitman.com, and you can also find me all over the internet as some variation of Myra Elizabeth. I will put up a screen here that'll have all of my social media information on it. So there you go. There is my social media. Flashing it in one screen is definitely easier than putting in all of the titles down in the bottom of the screen. So yes, I definitely stole that idea from another podcaster, but what are you gonna do? So now I'm not wearing anything knitted, so we can't do what am I wearing today. So I think it's time for finished objects, and I have one. Let me get it. Here they are. So they are socks. I haven't woven in the ends yet, but they're socks. I'll do that. So they are just plain vanilla socks. They're knit in Stroll Tweed from Knit Picks. I did about a 1-inch cuff. I was out and I just eyeballed it, and it's a 2x1 rib. Then I did the leg, fish lips kiss heel, and then my favorite toe shaping, which is somewhat rounded. That's that. These are birthday socks for my mother-in-law. Her birthday is in June, so they're definitely done early. But I was going to see a movie with a friend. I was going to see Beauty and the Beast, actually. with a friend and her daughter, and I needed a straightforward mindless knit, and this was the yarn. It didn't need to be that I had on hand. It didn't need to be caked because it came already like in a ball, so I could just grab it and run. And I knit these 2 at a time on Chiago Red Lace US size 2, which is 2.75 millimeters needles. So that's my one finished object. Not a lot today. So I'm going to move on into whips, the stuff on my needles. And so I have a couple whips that you haven't seen before, and I'll show you those first. So the first one is a sock, and it is just a vanilla sock on bamboo needles. The yarn is definitely turning my needles blue. These are US size 1s, and they're Clover bamboo needles. They're super old, and they were already kind of junky before they were blue. So this is probably the last pair of socks they'll ever knit. So this is a birthday sock for my brother-in-law. His birthday's at the end of the month, so I really have to get cooking. But this one's speeding along. I started it Tuesday, and it's now Friday. And I haven't knit, I haven't devoted a whole lot of time to it, so it's coming along. The yarn, I can show you the cake. That's it in a cake. The yarn, I have the label right here. The yarn is Knit Picks Hawthorn. The colorway is called the Pearl, and this is an 80/20 superwash fine Highland wool and polymade blend, 357 yards to 100 grams. I really like Hawthorn. It's definitely one of Knit Picks' more sturdy fingering weights compared to the Stroll fingering weight. Stroll is merino. I think it's merino nylon blend. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But because it's merino, it doesn't stand up as well, so it's definitely my second choice yarn. But so it's hard to find. They don't really have Hawthorn in just plain colors. They're all like specialty prints, I guess. Whereas Stroll, they have Stroll in every color you could imagine. So yeah, it pills really easily, but it's super, super soft. So it's a bit of a trade-off. So that is my first whip. Oh, and I'm knitting it. I normally knit, well, I shouldn't say normally. I often will knit my socks 2 at a time. And so that's sort of my preference, but occasionally I want the instant gratification of knitting a sock 1 at a time because it just grows so much quicker. And so that's this. So, and it's on bamboo needles. I'm regretting that decision, but the only US size ones I have are bamboo. I have another pair of US size ones, but they're just also bamboo, so they're not going to help me any. But I like the gauge of US size ones. That's, I think, is my preferred sock gauge. So I need to invest in some US size 1 in metal needles, but I just haven't yet. So that's that. I could also stand to pick up a pair of acrylic for flying and concerts. I say concerts like I actually go to concerts. Any sort of event where they might be a little weary of metal needles. Anyway, moving on to my second whip, which you also haven't seen before. I'm really excited about this one, guys. It's kind of my favorite whip right now. So that is my trachea hat. So the trachea pattern, I don't know if you can see the cables, the lighting is really bad. So the trachea pattern is there's a piece of my hair in it. Is a pattern on Ravelry by Michelle Wong. I think you can almost see it better back here because of the lighting. It's a cable pattern by Michelle Wong. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry, so I won't talk much about the specifics of the pattern. It's written for sport or fingering weight. So this is a fingering weight yarn. It is Woolen Vine blitzed base in the Tega colorway. So that's the yarn. And I have the label right here, which I can show you. Here's her label. Blitzed Tega. And this is the cable needle this is the needle I've been using as a cable needle. It's just a Knitter's Pride Carbon double pointed needle. And I have a set of these. I actually got it for this hat because I didn't have a set of DPNs in US size 3, which is what the pattern calls for. Yep, I ordered this, and I also had to order this circular needle because I do not have any US size 3 circs, because my interchangeable set only goes down to size 4, and I don't knit socks on US size 3s, and I knit mostly socks and sweaters, so yeah, I didn't have any US size 3 needles. And so this is part of my brain's just a little overworked lately, guys, with school, because I meant to order a 16-inch circular, and I ordered a 24-inch circular, which is why it's kind of stretched out. Luckily, it's like a slouchy cabled hat, so it fits on a 24-inch circ. But yeah, I was so mad when it came. And when I opened the package, because I ordered them off Amazon and they're Chiagu's, my needle of choice. When I opened the package from Amazon, I was like, oh no, they sent me the wrong size circular needles. I thought they messed up and sent me the wrong thing, because a couple days ago we got an order. I think we had ordered it was either cat food or cat litter and one other thing, and they sent us the cat litter or the cat food, whichever it was, and whatever else we ordered, and these wine charms. So they're little, they look like little rubber trolls, actually, that go on the stem of your wine glass, but we didn't order those. So Amazon's not invaluable. Valuable? I'm losing my mind. I don't know if I said that right. So I thought Amazon messed up, and I went on and I checked my order on their website, and no, I just ordered the wrong size circular needles because I can't think anymore. So yeah, that's my trachea hat, and I love the way it's knitting up. The cables are just so gorgeous, and I love doing cable patterns because you get to see the pattern slowly build on itself and become and slowly work up into the design it's supposed to be. So that's really cool. And this is, I don't know if you can see, that is just, it's a row counter. I got them off of Amazon. We have Amazon Prime, so we buy almost everything off of Amazon. I got it off of Amazon, and they were really inexpensive. I got 4 of them for like $1.50, and it wasn't even an add-on item. I was shocked. And actually, don't quote me on that. I don't think it was an add-on item. And it's just the little like spinny row counter. It serves the purpose. I really like it. They have like, I know some knitters use digital ones that they wear on a lanyard around their neck. Which one? That's just a lot to keep track of. 2, maybe they have like some memory function. They must, because otherwise they'd be useless, right? So they must have some sort of memory. But can you use them for more than one project? How do you remember which row count is for which project if you can do that? Or do you just knit monogamously, or do you have to have more than one? And you know what? If I didn't have to pass it every time I started a new row, I would forget to wind it. So, yeah. That's just, that belonged in Ramble because that was not pertinent to the story. So yeah, that's my last WIP. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm kind of sad it's spring because I can't wear my hat, but it was really cold and rainy today. Actually, this is wool. I wouldn't want to wear it in the rain. But it's really cold today. Maybe it'll be cold again and I can wear my hat once it's done. That would be really exciting. But I would also, yeah, I don't know how exciting that would actually be. But anyways, that's my second WIP. So put that back over there. And so all of the rest of my WIPs, well, there's 2 of them, you have seen before. I have made progress on them though, because I do actually have an additional WIP that you've seen before, but I haven't made any progress on it, so I'm not going to show it to you. But so I'm going to grab my next WIP, bring it over here. Alright, and so this is my pullover. Yes, so it is just a plain stockinette, that lighting, plain stockinette stitch pullover, 2x2 rib, and I haven't worked on it. I've worked on it since I showed it to you, but I haven't worked on it in a couple weeks because I'm to the point where I think I'm like an inch or 2 away from joining the sleeves. I don't know, I'd have to measure it. Or maybe I needed to do math to decide where exactly I wanted the sleeves, and that's why I stopped. One of the 2. And yeah, because that doesn't look long enough to attach sleeves. So I probably have 2 or 3 more inches. But anyways, I was getting close to the sleeves and I haven't knit them yet. I need to do it. I just haven't gotten the chance to cast it on and do it. Sleeves aren't very exciting, but they knit up quick, so I should just do it. But anyway, that's my pullover. It's knit out of Barocco Vintage DK. It's an acrylic wool nylon blend. I like it. I like working with it. I'm hoping that because it's got acrylic in it, it won't be quite as warm as my like completely wool, my 100% wool sweater, because sometimes that's a little too warm. It's not a sweater that I can put over, you know, a t-shirt at night in the summer, which I live in Connecticut, so you definitely need sweaters in the summertime, just at night and stuff, or in the early morning because it gets cold. So I'm hoping that this will be cool enough for that purpose. If not, oh well, I will enjoy it in the winter. So that is that WIP. And then my next WIP, I have to reach over and get it. It's across my little table here. My little staging table. Oh, jeez. Okay, so got it. Reposition myself here. This is the classic oak cardigan. It is for my husband. And I have definitely made some progress on it since you last saw it. It is less than an inch from the armholes. That's so, it's exciting to me. It's exciting to me. So yes, it's less than an inch from the armholes. And I can't wait to start the neck, and oh, lost some stitches. I can't wait to start the neck and shoulder shaping because I get to work on one section at a time. So I'll work on just one side, just the back, and just the other side. So I feel like it'll go a lot faster because it'll be fewer stitches, it'll grow more quickly, and I'm really ready to be done with this sweater. I've been knitting it for a while. That sounds terrible, but I want to be done. It was a lot of work. It's a very pretty sweater, but I'm ready to be done. So I had a bit of a snafu with this sweater the other day. So I think it was it was definitely last weekend, not this past week, 2 weekends ago. I pulled out the sleeve that I had done for the sweater already, and I was looking at it and the stitches were huge. I was like, what happened to my gauge? Like, what happened? Because it was huge. It was huge. And I looked at the needles, because luckily it was still on the needles. I hadn't bound off. I hadn't done the last 2 or 3 rows. And so I compared these needles with the other needles, and these were smaller, significantly so. So these are a US size 5, and I had knit the sleeve on a US size 7, which is what the pattern calls for. So in that moment, I was just like, oh no, what if, because, so, it's before I joined this ball of yarn. So you can see, I've done, what is that, maybe 2-3 inches at most. It's probably more like 2.5 inches. So I devoted a lot of knitting, and if this sweater was too small, I was going to be really upset. So I didn't pull it off the needles. I put it on waste yarn, pulled out the needles, and tried it on my husband, and it fits. Thank the Lord. Like, I don't know what I would have done if all of this work were for nothing. So my husband is not quite is a little too big to be a small and a little too small to be a medium. So thankfully, knitting it on smaller needles means it fits perfectly. So I had to rip out that entire sleeve, which is the preferable option because either the sleeve or this had to go, and the sleeve was a lot less work. So I'll re-knit the sleeve and knit the second sleeve, and then, yeah. So I will have pulled out one sleeve, and I actually have pulled out the bobby once, but I was just past the ribbing, and I realized I had done the ribbing wrong, and I had to tear that out and start it over again. But that was not nearly as traumatic as ripping out the entire body of the sweater would have been. That still, gives me anxiety. He probably never would have gotten this sweater if it had been the wrong size. If it had been too small, she just never would have gotten it. That's not true. I would have knit it, because then I would be determined to make sure I finished it. have to beat the pattern. So I don't think I mentioned, this is the classic oak cardigan. It is a paid-for pattern on Ravelry, and the designer's name is Alexandra Charlotte Defoe. Yes, that's what it is. So that is all of my whips. And I thought I would talk about future knits, things I want to knit. I want to knit the Snow Melt shawl by, I think her name's Helen Stewart. I will look that up and make sure it's correct in the show notes. It's just a beautiful shawl, and I want one, so that might happen after one of these, or preferably more than one of these whips is off the needles. I'm going to try to, I've set a goal for myself the other day. I want to try and get all of these things, all 4 of these whips off the needles before I cast on anything else. Which, I don't know that I can do that. I think I'm gonna allow myself 2 cast-ons. The second sock for my brother-in-law's birthday socks, so I'm allowed to cast that on, and then I have another lonely sock in my box of socks, and I can cast on that mate. But that's it. Those are the only things I'm allowed to cast on until all 4 of these projects are off the needles. You witnessed this. One of you has to hold me accountable. So yeah, hopefully I can stick to that. So that is all of my whips. I can now move on to stash acquisitions, which I kind of have a lame stash acquisition. Well, not really. You'll see. Just let me gather my stash. Okay, so when I first cast on my husband's sweater, I was on a budget, and so I didn't buy all of the yarn I would need for his sweater at once. So I bought it sort of as I needed it, which, I mean, that worked out fine, particularly since it's mass-produced yarn. It's not an issue, like you don't have to worry too much about dye lots. So I picked up the last 3 skeins that I'll need. Here's one of them. This is Yarn Bee Bushworks. The colorway name is Silver, and it is a acrylic and alpaca blend. So it's mostly acrylic, but yep. So I bought 3 skeins of this, which should be at least, I'm thinking, so one sleeve is a whole skein of this. So I have to do 2 sleeves and the yoke. So I have probably 3/4 of a skein left that's attached to my knitting currently. So that'll get me through at least the next inch up to the armholes, and I'm hoping it'll get me through at least one of the fronts for the shoulder. We'll see. I don't have a scale to weigh my yarn, so I really just, when I say, you know, I think I'm gonna have enough yarn for this, it's truly just a guess based on past projects where I used, you know, similar weight yarn. So that's a complete guess. It's an educated guess. So that's my first stash acquisition. And then my second acquisition, also from Hobby Lobby, are buttons. So I got these buttons for my husband's sweater, and they are, I think they're wood. They're at least a wooden effect. So I think those are going to be really cute on, well, not cute, really nice looking on his masculine sweater. So I got 6 of them because that's what the pattern calls for. And then I also got another 3 buttons for my sweater because it's going to have a, it's going to button from like here to here. So, yeah, I like these buttons. I realized after I bought them that they're the same buttons, or they're the same pattern that's on the buttons of the sweater I'm wearing. I mean, which is fine. I just thought that was kind of funny. And now I'm looking at them. I hope I'm gonna be able to get the yarn through the hole. Or do you sew buttons onto sweaters with yarn? Or do you sew it? Oh, this has thread. These are sewn on with thread. So I guess you sew it on with thread. I'll have to get some matching, some like tan thread to put these on, and where'd they go? There. And these, but I'm not to the button sewing phase yet, so that can wait. But yeah, so that's all of my stash acquisitions and my whips and my finished objects. And so now we can move into what am I reading? Because this is the Knitting Bookworm podcast. So I'm currently reading The Towers of Midnight by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. That is book 13 in the Wheel of Time series. And yeah, I'm almost done. I'm like a third of the way through that book. And then I only have one more book, and then I'm done with the series. And I don't know how I'm gonna cope with that. Like, I've been reading it, I think, not this coming week, but the week after will mark a year since I started Wheel of Time. I know that. I know that because my husband was in, we were just dating at the time, actually. Weren't engaged yet. My husband was in England with his brother, and it was the week after I finished finals, and, what was I saying? My train of thought. Oh, so it was the week after I finished finals, and Scott was in England, and I think my friend Kira was in Florida, and Amy, my friend Amy, I think she was in Mexico for most of it, and my other friend Amy, because I have 2, was in Scotland, and yeah. Everyone was somewhere other than Connecticut, and I had no one to talk to, and I was, you know, after finals, I usually like to take like 3 days, not do anything, and just sleep in and be a hermit, because I lose my mind during finals. And so, but eventually, like, I only want to do that for a couple days, and then all my friends were still on vacation, and I didn't know what to do, because you can only knit so much before your hands start to hurt. So I started a Wheel of Time, and it was a series that my husband had talked about incessantly, because it's one of his favorites, and I was sort of like, yeah, okay, whatever. And he, you know, had said, you'll probably like this. You know, I had the first a copy of the first book, but I had sort of pushed off starting it because sometimes he has weird book suggestions. And so I started reading it, and I was hooked, and I had finished, I don't think I had finished the entire book, but I think I was like 3/4 of the way through it by the time he got home. And I started on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and he got home on Sunday, and I was already like 3/4 of the way done with it. And it's not a short book. It's about 1,000 pages. So, yes. And so ever since then, I've been reading Wheel of Time, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when I'm done with Wheel of Time. See, like, it's a book where it's really a series where you fall in love with the characters. They're very much people you can root for, and so I think that's part of what makes it so hard to finish the series and acknowledge that it's over. I mean, I can always reread it, but it's still sad. It's still sad. So I have to come to terms with finishing Wheel of Time. And then I still haven't started The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which I told you I was going to start in my last podcast. I haven't done it yet. I've been very busy. And I think after Wheel of Time, I'm going to read through that series again. I thought I had read all of it, but Scott and I were talking about it the other day, and I realized I definitely haven't read The Last Battle. I know that I've read the first 4, I want to say. I was also a child, so I remember The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe very well because I loved it so much, and I read it a million times, but the other plot lines are a little fuzzy because I was a child. So I'm gonna reread that, and then I'll have to see where the wind takes me. I have several books on my bookshelf that I haven't read, and I say several like it's only a handful. I mean, I have an entire 2 shelves of books I haven't read. 3 shelves. 2.5 shelves. Let's go with 2.5 shelves of books that I haven't read. So some of them I've started and decided, no, because life is too short to read bad books. I'm sorry. There are bookworms out there that will, hang me for that, but no. Life is too short to read bad books. So there are books on my shelf that I've started that I'm not going to finish, so I should probably donate those and make room for new books, because that's always the goal, right? More books and more yarn. I think that's my goal in life. I mean, those are the only 2 things that I buy on a regular basis. Books and yarn. My credit card company is, yep, that's true. Not that they watch this. But if they did, they would be nodding in agreement, because that is fairly true. So, I'm already rambling, so I guess we can move into the ramble segment officially. So, I'm almost done with school, which is exciting and terrifying at the same time. Yesterday was my last day of classes of my undergraduate career. That was really nice. I'm going to really enjoy not going to lectures for a while, because, I mean, actually, some lectures are really nice. Sometimes I have a love-hate relationship with discussion-based courses. Sometimes you get a really great group, a really intelligent group, and sorry about that. You get a really intelligent group, and it's a really enlightening discussion, and it's great. And sometimes you get a group that makes you want to bang your head against the wall. I'm sorry. My phone keeps saying, update me, update me. I don't want to update you. I don't want to update. I don't like change. That's not true. I don't like changing my operating systems though. So, yeah. In one of my classes, there were definitely times where I wanted to bang my head against the wall. But that's life. That's life. So, I'm gonna stop rambling here because this is already kind of long and I rambled so much throughout the podcast that I don't think you need to hear any more of me rambling. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully this is my break back into regular podcasting on a schedule.